the Shot Sports Network with the Double A, bringing you a new show. This show today is going to be a Tennessee State show only. And with that said, let's get right on into it. Good morning again, Shot Sports Network with the Double A, bringing you a show today. And this show is going to be a Tennessee State show, just to give you an update about what's going on at Tennessee State. It's very hard to crack that egg when it comes to finding information out on what's going on with the Big Blue. But we got a few things we're going to talk about today. One of them is the quarterback situation, but I'm going to show you what my show agenda is here. And we're going to see if we can pop that over to you and just give you a breakdown on what we're going to talk about today. But basically, we're going to talk about recruiting news, talk some recruiting news about Tennessee State Tigers, and TSU basketball news, TSU football schedule, look at Tennessee State's football roster, and then TSU schedule analysis and projection of wins and losses. Not necessarily in that order, review of the football coaching staff. So with that said, let's get right on into it. So right off the bat, Tennessee State don't know when they're getting ready to start spring practice. Sometime here soon they're gonna start summer practices. I'm a little bit behind myself, but anyway, they're gonna start summer practices, and there's quarterback battle going on between you got Marcelis Tate, you got McNair quarterback, and then you got another quarterback. I can't think his name right now, but he is he's from Winston-Salem. He was brought in to be the starter. And then once we look at the roster, we can pull these guys up. But let me see here. But just looking at the roster, let's see, where's the quarterback at? But the Big Blue has a new roster out there, and out there on their website, and I'm looking at it now. But one of the quarterbacks that in particular that we're talking about is Marcelis Tate, and I'm going to show you him on film a little bit. And Marcelis Tate is a South Florida transfer, and I'm just going to show you some high school stuff. I think he was there last year at South Florida, and he Tennessee State coach bought him in to compete, and then they bought in kid from, let me see here, where's he at? So Bryan McNair was one of the guys vying for the job, and then you got Dalen Lee, another individual vying for the job, and Dalen Lee it shows him as a freshman there, but he's not a freshman. He is a senior. in my, yeah, he's a senior, I believe. It's be his senior year because Dalen Lee, if I'm not mistaken, Dalen Lee's coming from, Dalen Lee is coming from Winston-Salem State. So let me see if I can pull him up a little closer here. Let's see here. They don't have any information on him on the site, but yep, it says he's a freshman, but I stand corrected. I think this is his senior year. He started 3 years at Winston-Salem State. And he's out of North Carolina. And then let's see, and then you got the kid Marcelis Tate. Marcelis Tate is he's a South Florida transfer. So you got Bryan McNair, Dalen Lee, and Marcelis Tate, who transferred in from South Florida, vying for the job. And so the competition, don't know how it is exactly going, but looks like Dalen Lee and Tate are going to be the two competitors trying to win that job. So that's the story on the quarterback. So let's just look at here. I got a little bit of video on Marcelis Tate. Now this is his sophomore season in high school, but he was rated as a 3-star coming out of high school. And see if I can clear up everything and pop him over there. But Tate looks good on film from what I watched. And I found some highlights of Dalen Lee on him at Winston-Salem State. So let's see here. Have some difficulty with the video. Let's see here. Okay, this is junior year. See if I can get the junior year in. You can see him a little bit on that. Takes a little bit to get it loaded. But Tennessee's gonna be all right. Tennessee State's gonna be all right. Yeah, they've got 3 capable quarterbacks. I think one of them, they're not big in weight, but one is 6'2", and then the other quarterback is 6'4". So here it is. Let's see, pop it over there to you. But you just looking, there he is right there, what the story is. Okay, pop back over there. Marcelis Tate can run with the ball. He's 6'2", I think 190 pounds. Battle with McNair, Bryan McNair, and Marcelis Tate is in the battle also with Dylan Lee. And he actually started there for at least 2-3 years. So just watch him on TV. It's gonna be hard to beat him, but to beat him for this job. If I'm not mistaken, deep into the playoff for the Division II playoffs. Just looking at Marcelis Tate, he's got a lot of talent. He's got some talent in the field. He's got athleticism. He's going to need that. But anyway, that's just a small tidbit on him. And the other kid, Dylan Lee, if I'm not mistaken, he led Winston-Salem to the playoffs, and he's a real good quarterback. So Tennessee State's gonna be all right, I believe. And with the new coaching staff and the new coordinator, they're gonna have a good chance of being able to do something. And they're not getting really treated very well in the polls right now, but we'll see what happens with that. So just taking a look at we're gonna take a look at what they're thinking about as far as Tennessee State's football program. But just looking at it, the prediction 4-8 this year. Flores 2 wins and 10 losses. Ceiling is 6-6. Likely wins or 2 OVC Big South opponents. Possible win over Jackson State at home, or possible win over Western Illinois. Now, this is just an assessment. This is don't tell them how TSU is going to do. I'm going to try to get out there to see them practice so I can get a better outlook on what's going on with the Big Blue. But we'll just tell you that's what the prediction algorithms are saying. And this is just, and this is AI generated. But anyway, likely losses: Georgia, Florida A&M, and Alabama A&M. And then the overall analysis: TSU is in a rebuilding mode after coaching changes and roster turnover. The schedule opens with Jackson State and then a trip to Georgia, which is about as difficult as a start possible. Most projections around the FCS level expect the Tigers to remain in building mode during 2026. So best case scenario, 6-6. We'll see if the Big Blue is able to succeed. Now, one of the things that you see going across the ticker is athletic director has been suspended, and then you have a new athletic director that's taking over as an interim. And one of the things that I've heard complaints about is TSU not getting funds from Georgia that they should be getting in order to survive going down there to play a team caliber of Georgia. So I just want to break it down for you. I got this from found this graphic here. So one of the things I wanted to show you. So here it is. So the top payouts for 2026. So these big schools are not paying money like they paid a year or two ago. You know, Tennessee State went up to play Notre Dame 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and they got $1.5 million. Now TSU is getting $600,000 to play Georgia. Seymour, another OVC school, they're getting $600,000 to play Iowa State. And so this is not the full list, but these are just the top schools and the payouts that they are receiving for playing. And then I've heard some other stuff where Tennessee State, if they bring their band, they got to pay for tickets for all of them. Of course, they got to pay to get them down there to Georgia, Athens, Georgia. And so that right there is, that deal should have been made. That's a bad deal, in my opinion. And we don't know what kind of deal Seymour got with Iowa State, but that just doesn't sound right. It sounds like to me Georgia doesn't want to bring their band. And then looking on down the list here, some teams only getting 400,000. I think Tennessee Tech is playing someone and they only getting $400,000. I think Vanderbilt's playing a FCS school and they only giving $400,000. And the thing about it is, if a school has to come a long way to travel, and I'm talking 4 or 5 hour drive, they got to pay. The teams, they got to pay for food for the players. They got to pay for room and board, especially if you get down there you got to get down there at least on Thursday, so you can at least get a couple of good practices in. So that's 2, maybe 3 hotel days, and then you come back Sunday morning. Okay, and so that's a lot of money. When you're talking about a football team, and then when you throw in the band, same thing for the band. And then if you 5-6 hours away, if you riding a bus, you want to travel. If you travel by bus, then you got to have some time for the ball players to get some rest. So that means you have to leave a little early, so it makes the money go up a little bit more as far as room and board and as far as feeding the players. And so they're taking advantage. These big schools are taking advantage of these smaller schools. I think McNair State, if you look at this chart here, McNair State got $750,000 to play LSU. Now, McNeese, if I'm not mistaken, is in Lake Charles. LSU's in Baton Rouge. It's a good 3.5 to 4 hour drive to get to LSU. Florida A&M is in Tallahassee, and that's a pretty good drive to get to from Florida A&M to Miami. So even 750. I remember what Deion Sanders was saying, if a FCS school doesn't get at least 750, it's not worth it for them to even play the game. But I just want to show you that because I've talked to a lot of people and they were concerned about that as being one of the issues that Tennessee State is having with this Georgia game and traveling. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with that down the road, and just staying close to what's going on here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We talked about the football schedule, I think. Talked about the football schedule. TSU's got a tough football schedule. And then we talked about analysis and projection, wins and losses. And then let's look at the football coaches But anyway, you got Reggie Barlow as the head coach. And Reggie Barlow's the head coach. You know, he got a long NFL career and coached up in the UFL, United Football League. And then, of course, Cedric Thornton has a lot of experience also. And but anyway, the get a little noise from the lawnmower stuff coming by. But the thing about it is, they got some pretty good coaches. Matt Leon, he came from one of the, I think, North Carolina Central. And he's going to be working as the offensive coordinator for Tennessee State. And then, of course, you got Dexter Jackson, longtime NFL player. Played defensive back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cedric Thornton had some NFL time also. Nick Andrews, he had a little bit of NFL time also. And then get that noise out of the way, hopefully. But Eddie Woods, I think he's been there a little while. And then Matt Brown. Then Terrell Barnes, a former player, played a little bit in the UFL and tried out for some NFL teams. So he played for Tennessee State. And so just looking at looks like they had a whole new staff. One of the things I didn't see here was a defensive coordinator. And unless Cedric Thornton's going to be the defensive coordinator. And linebackers coach. So we have to see. He's associate head coach according to this. But we'll see what happens with that as far as Tennessee State's coaching staff. Now, Mikander Didon, he was brought in as the offensive line coach. And then, of course, Ryan Conway was brought in as the running back coach. And then the director of player performance is Carlton Harris. And he's also the special teams coach also. And then the support staff, Johnny Johnson, Kalen Johnson, and Haley Carter. So all of those folks are going to be supporting Tennessee State's players. Tennessee State has a lot of young players, a ton of young players. And so we'll just see how all that turns out once the season starts. And like I said earlier, I'm going to try to get over to see him practice and see what they can do. And then last but not least, the last thing is let's look at basketball. Let's talk about some basketball news. So Tennessee State right now, it looks like they have 8 players in the fold. He's gone out and picked up at least 7 or 8 players for this year's season. Had some of the top players transfer out. Had some guys graduate. And so we just got to see what Coach Smith does. Excuse me, as far as getting players in the fold and seeing if he can repeat what he had last year. Nakrama, he trying out for the Denver Nuggets right now, I think. He was in the summer league. Don't know what his status is right now. But he didn't get drafted, and I really thought he was going to get drafted in the second round, but he didn't get drafted. So that was a big disappointment for me, not seeing him get drafted. But then let's look at just looking at overall news from my channel. Tennessee Vols. Let's talk about Tennessee Vols. You look at my ticker there. They lost a cornerback to a season-ending injury, and then they had 4 players named to the SEC preseason. The TSU Tigers are in full workouts right now. They cut about 4 players and then signed 2. And I mentioned the TSU Tigers have an updated roster, and they're going to update it again before the season. The TSU also suspended the athletic director. Everybody knows about that, Dr. Allen. And then we're looking at, I don't know what the status of that's going to be. Don't know how long Jennifer Bell will be the interim athletic director. Tennessee ball, Aaron Carter, who's a local kid from Smyrna, he's suspended for 2 games, and the whole thing's a farce. I think Tennessee's going to fight that. And then, of course, Tennessee basketball just finished up summer drills. And then just looking at the other big news with Tennessee Titans is they're gonna put Chris Johnson in the ring of honor. And then I mentioned Tennessee State's Jennifer Bell's interim athletic director. And that's about it for big news. So I'll have more for you on the next one. I'm gonna be doing some consolidated shows where I'm talking about Tennessee State, the Vols, and the Memphis Tigers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. And they're gonna be all on the same show. I cover 4 schools. I dropped some schools. I dropped a couple schools. It was just too much for me to recover. But my show's a little different than most of the shows that's out there. And I try to cover probably 4 of the most important schools in the state. And since Tennessee is the biggest HBCU in the state, I cover them and their FCS. So with that said, I'm going to continue this same pattern and try to have you some more content. Right now, more content's coming out of Tennessee than any other school that I support on this channel. My next show is going to be a Vanderbilt show. And so once I get that show done, then I may be doing some consolidated shows. Now, I'll probably talk about all 4 schools on each show, and that's what I'll do. But anyway, with that said, that's going to end this show. And I know we had some noise come in and drown out my show, but we'll do better on the next show. With that said, God bless each and every one of you. Appreciate you subscribing to my show, and remember to share my show if you can. And we'll see you on the next one. This is Double A, Shot Across Sports Network, and we'll see you on the next show.